What's up, y'all? It's Daniel, and I'm here today to do a quick test on our new setup. I have a Samsung Tab that I'm using as a second screen, as opposed to this other thing that I was using before. It was cool. Might even go back to it if something else goes wrong or if I need a third screen. But right now, we're focused on my laptop and my Samsung Tab and sharing the screen. Later on, I'm going to share something that we're going to talk through. It's going to be for, what is it called? It's called use. I forgot what it's called now. I wrote it down. Fair use. Fair use. It's going to be a video that I'm going to kind of pick through because I feel that it's important to know that the voters of North Carolina know what we up against in our upcoming governor's race. As you know, Cooper, I guess he's termed out and can't run again. So we got to try to elect somebody that's also progressive that can continue in the way in which we are going. So this video I'm about to share is from his lieutenant governor, who is ridiculous in my opinion. And we'll talk about that. But right now, I'm going to share a screen with you because I wanted to see how the screen is going to show up when I get ready to talk. Let me show you what the video is going to look like. The video is actually located on my Tumblr feed. And this is it right here. I did a quick post on it that says, "Hey, North Carolina, vote Republicans out." So the lieutenant governor, if you don't know, is an actual Republican. And this video is the one that I wanted to share.
North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper is back with us.
So let's listen.
Gov, we mentioned as we were coming out of the last segment, voting rights is going to be a topic of conversation, particularly in North Carolina. The House Speaker.
Now, as I said, this is going to be a fair use video, so I'm going to be cutting through it and dissecting it and kind of speeding through it or either chopping it off if they're not in the area that I want them to be. But let's listen right now to this to check it out.
In North Carolina says the upcoming session will include what he's calling election integrity legislation. It could tighten voter ID rules. It could shorten early vote.
I'm sorry. So basically, and you'll hear them talk about this, is that the Republicans in North Carolina are trying to, once again, gerrymander and scheme and try to set up laws in which they're trying to block people from voting. I don't know why Merrick Garland, by him being the attorney general, why he don't have somebody down here checking that shit out, but apparently he doesn't. So it's obvious to me that people are trying to jack with the voting rights of people in North Carolina. In particularly, the Republicans are trying to mess with the voting rights of the people of North Carolina. They don't like the way that it's going, whatever. I'll let the video play.
Periods. North Carolina is a battleground. And then you also have what is very fresh in North Carolina on the minds of voters, the abortion ban, right? The 12-week abortion ban, the overriding of your veto. You have the IVF decision in Alabama this week.
I'm sorry, I'm going to stop it again. She just mentioned about overriding a veto. That means that the Republicans fixed it so that they had enough people that even though the governor wanted to veto something that they put forth to try to jack with people's voting rights, they still were able to do it because of the way that they had by the numbers. They had enough numbers to override his veto. That's what I'm saying that we need in a veto-proof majority in the House and Senate. So everybody running around, oh, Trump, 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 Trump. Forget Trump, okay? Let's just say that if we focused on the House and the Senate, and we had enough progressives and their Democratic friends in order to create a veto proof majority, we wouldn't have to worry about all this stuff that people are going through. So, what we need to do is we need to focus on the House by putting in progressives and their Democratic friends, and the Senate by making sure that we have enough progressives and their Democratic friends in order to do the things that we need done for the American people. Yeah, the president is important, but I'm tired of hearing about Joe and Trump. To be honest with you, because the we need to get stuff done. The Supreme Court is not doing their job. So if we had a veto-proof majority in the House and Senate of progressives and their Democratic friends, then uh, we could expand the Supreme Court up to 13 to get rid of the gerrymandering that the Republicans did. Because most of the time, if something's not fair, most progressives will call it out, right? So I'm saying that we could possibly put enough um, people in there in order to make it so that everybody can get a fair share, right? So if say for instance we didn't have say for instance Trump did win, hopefully he won't. I like Cornel West, y'all, so y'all vote for Cornel. But say for instance we didn't have a president that was friendly to the people, and he didn't want to do anything with the judges. We could still set term limits. We could write legislation through our progressive Congress that sets term limits on people. We could write um, legislation that would rein in the the rules and the regulations that govern our water and our air. We could do a lot of things with the progressive Congress, and I think that's where our focus should be. But I digress. I'll be quiet. I'll be quiet. I'll be quiet. Shh. Let's listen. Let's listen. Let's listen. I'll bring it back up.
From the Alabama Supreme Court. How are you all thinking about organizing around this? What is the conversation on the ground in North Carolina? And are you concerned about what the legislature could do?
Let's be clear. This is an attempt by the Republican leadership to make it harder for people to vote that they don't think are going to vote for them. I mean, they've done the research. They know that a lot of people who tend to vote Democratic like to vote early. They like to vote by mail. So they are making it harder to do that. And they disguise it by using things like election security and election integrity. North Carolina has had very secure elections that have reflected the will of the people. I won at the same time Donald Trump won North Carolina.
Did you hear that? He said he won at the same time that Donald Trump won twice. So, I mean, that he won twice at the same time that Donald Trump won, whatever he just said. But the thing of it is, he's trying to tell y'all that the Republicans are trying to disguise what they're doing under the auspices of election security. Yeah, we need to really have to have. How did they get elected in office? If it was so jacked up, what makes them think that their position is legit? You don't hear them talk about their elections being tainted.
Twice. And we've seen a lot of bipartisan results. So this is only about making it harder for people to exercise their constitutional right. Make no mistake about it.
So you have voter suppression
Yes.
masquerading as election integrity. And then at the same time, you have things I think are a little bit more challenging to explain. For example, the importance of who appoints officials to the Board of Elections, which is a big contentious issue in North Carolina. Right?
I wrote an op-ed about that.
And you see that what he's saying, or what he's about to say, because I already watched the video. What he's about to say is that the Republicans in North Carolina changed the laws so that they took away the right of the governor to do the job that he normally does of electing just the people that help with the voting. They want to try to change the game and cheat so badly that they want to try to elect, or they want to have say-so over who the people are that run the elections in North Carolina. So in my mind, Merrick Garland is not doing his job, because this is clearly voting rights interference. They're trying to intimidate people. They're messing with people's right to vote. And I don't know why Garland didn't have a team down here investigating all of these Republicans, because they should be expelled from the posts that they have, because they're not doing their jobs of upholding the law of seeing to everybody has, clear voting rights. To me, I don't, that is freaking weird that they can pretty much break the law and not hold up to the standards that they're supposed to be, held to as public officials, and still get away with it. That confuses me. That's weird.
This, which maybe you guys can cite out there, but in North Carolina for decades, the governor has had the authority to appoint the Board of Elections upon recommendations of the two major parties. Our elections have run well under both Republican and Democratic governors. This Republican legislative leadership is trying to take over the running of the State Board of Elections.
Did you hear that? They're trying to take over. So that's why I say Republicans, all of them, should be voted out. Every last one of them. And if we discover that there was a couple of few of them in there that did a good job, we'll elect them down the road, perhaps. But I don't hear them kicking up any noise or making any noise right now. It's looking like to me they're moving as one team. So one team, one fight. That means all of them got to go.
Each time they've tried, the courts have beat them down. That's unconstitutional. They tried a constitutional amendment on the ballot. The people voted it down by big margins. Just think about what they want to do. They want to put things in chaos. They want some decisions to be flipped back to them. And when you think about what happened in 2020, if there's a close race in North Carolina, if they're able to get this, then potentially a presidential election could flip back to a supermajority Republican legislature to make a decision on it. These are very dangerous things.
Very
with our
dangerous
democracy,
things. Trying
to get that power advantage. I've been able to work with them on a lot of issues: economic development, Medicaid expansion, clean energy.
And that's what he's supposed to do. He's supposed to work with people. That's what government is supposed to do. We hear your problems, we hear your concerns, but at the bottom line and at the end of the day, if you ain't got the votes to do it, don't go and try to cheat. Take your voice to the people, tell them the truth about them. And hold on, Gub. Let me take you off the screen for a minute. The other problem, I'm sorry. The other problem, this was supposed to be like a test video, but forget it. If you guys want to, let me take a little time right here to say, if you guys ever want to be on a podcast with me or a broadcast to talk about different issues and stuff like that, just get in contact with me. I probably will have my contact information somewhere below and we can have discussions. I'm a down to earth person. We try to have good videos and try to do things that are pretty cool. So yeah, but anyway, getting back to what we were saying. Damn, I forgot now. Let me play a little bit more of the video and then I'll come back. Hold on.
On these issues, we have to stand firm and we have to make sure that we're fighting them in the courts and at the ballot box.
So just real quickly, if they have supermajority, if Joe Biden wins, do you think they defend and uphold his victory?
It's questionable. With this leadership in the state legislature. Yes, I think that's questionable. It depends on what happens.
I'm gonna run it back
but
a
they're
little
trying
Let's run it
the
back a little
Republican legislature to make a decision on it. These are very dangerous things, playing with our democracy, trying to get that power advantage. I've been able to work with them on a lot of issues, economic development, Medicaid expansion, clean energy, but on these issues, we have to.
Okay, I remember what I was going to say. What I was going to say is you're supposed to work with people. That's what they're in government for, right? Republicans, Democrats, and progressives, because I'm a progressive. The issue I got with Democrats is the same issue I have with Republicans. They try to keep people out that's not in their party. That's not what it's about. That's not what America is about. Each party, to my knowledge at the moment, has less than 35% of the American people. So it's like maybe 35% Republicans, 35% Democrats, right? So what's 35, 35? So that means there's another like 30%, almost 30% out there that are, or 27%, because 35 is 70. So another 30% out there that basically are independent and progressives and all this and that. That can sway, and more than likely, they don't think like Republicans at all, because everybody wants to have um, um, rights as far as the ability to say what happens to their bodies. Everybody wants the right to vote. Everybody wants the right to be able to do the things that they need to do in order to pursue liberty and to have a good life. Everybody wants clean water, except for the Republicans and the conservatives that are on their team. Seems like to me, all they want to do is pollute shit. They want to just go out and break stuff. They want to keep people from doing the things that they need to do for their own health and safety. They want to just keep people from living. I got a problem with it. So yes, I believe in some instances things can go too far either way. You know, anytime you try to make someone do something, that's an issue. Fortunately, progressives don't try to make people do nothing. They have options there for people to do this, that, and the third, but they're not requiring people to go out and have an abortion. They're not requiring people to go and read a book that they don't want to book, you know, like some weird um cultish thing. They're not requiring people to do that. But if you want to read it, that's on you. And then if you read it and get you in trouble, then that's on you too. See, that's the thing about freedom and liberty. Some people don't know how to handle it. So because they don't know how to handle it, they think they got to go and make everybody do certain. Oh, you gotta do this. You know, you can't read this book. We're gonna take all the books out of the library that deals with this particular topic. We can't teach Black history because I'm scared, and if you read about what we used to do to Black people, then that's going to be a problem for me. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. It all depends on how you roll after we find out. You know what I'm saying? If you still acting like you the boss man out there on the horse, you gonna find out differently, because you're not. Now leave people alone if they're out there trying to have a good life and not bothering you. Then don't go over and get in their business. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's all about. You're trying to be in people's business too much. But I digress. Let's listen some more to what the government will say. I wish, that the next government or the next governor of North Carolina, because this guy's termed out. You know what I'm saying? And here's the thing. I know that some people do a great job and we want them to stay in longer, but it's got to be the same for everybody. If he's termed out, he's termed out. So then the next phase is to try to create some kind of a think group for folks like Governor Cooper, or people that might be like Barack has some issues, but even people like Barack Obama, let them be in like a think tank, or kind of like a subset of like an advisory board or an advisory commission, to where newly elected officials can go to them for, information and advice, not to necessarily be their puppet, but say, how did y'all handle this situation? And then folks like Cooper and President Obama and all these other folks could say, well, this is how we handled it. This is how we went through, and we talked with these folks, and you get in contact with this person because he might be a good, contact for you. That's how you will continue the strand of good governance, by having like an advisory board or an advisory, just like you have the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, and you have these other groups out there. Put them in a group that basically can be a good brain source to get information and to get good policy in order to continue the work that's being done. That's what I think should happen. All this trying to change the rules in order to bend the wheel and to sneak around and do stuff this way and that way, I don't agree with that for nobody. You know what I'm saying? If your time is up, your time is up. It's got to be somebody else to lead. That's the way I feel. Well, go ahead and talk, Governor.
Make sure that we're fighting them in the courts and at the ballot box.
So just real quickly, if they have supermajority, if Joe Biden wins, do you think they defend and uphold his victory?
It's questionable with this leadership in the state legislature. Yes, I think that's questionable. It depends on what happens, but they're trying to gain the authority to be able to do that with the way they've tried to reshape this Board of Elections in North Carolina.
Feeding into that, you've got your Lieutenant Governor of the state, Mark Robinson, running for governor. He's at CPAC.
Okay, y'all. I want to listen to this segment. I don't like our Lieutenant Governor. I keep saying government. Weird. I don't like the Lieutenant Governor, but I will say this. I like the fact, I've wrestled with this, but I think I've come up with a conclusion that I like the fact that North Carolina independently elects the governor and the lieutenant governor. And I'll tell you why. Because it gives you two chances to pick somebody that could be good for the people. Unfortunately, I don't know how every time we have I can't say it's every time, but it seems like when we have a Democratic governor, they sneak in some kind of weird lieutenant governor that is trying to fight against what he's trying to do. That's weird to me. But I don't know. I got to go and read the legislation to see if that's something that's supposed to be done or if it's just something that happens. But I want you to listen to what this guy's about to say. And it just goes to show you that all skin folk ain't kinfolk. Because this guy, Mark, that they're about to bring up, I can't even think of the word. I guess perplexed by what he's about to say. Then I'm like, how did he get elected? I'm pretty sure I didn't. You can't just look at somebody and say, yep, that's a brother. I'm elected. We can't do that. Cannot do that. You cannot do that. Let's see what he got to say.
PAC the last few days and was on stage noting throughout a couple of minutes the incredible economic turnaround in the great state of North Carolina and promoting that. But then he said this.
He promoted, before we show him, he promoted the fact that we had for the past, 7 years or whatever, that we had Governor Cooper in, that the economic situation has been going good in North Carolina. Things have been getting better. Situations are getting better. But listen to what this guy got to say.
The left is wrong. They are wrong on every topic, on every issue. They don't have a political leg to stand on. They don't have a social leg to stand on.
What a jack. What a jack. Take a good look at him. If you see him on the ballot, don't vote for him. May he never see the governor's seat except for wiping it out for the next man that's going to be good for the people.
Stand on. They don't have a spiritual leg to stand on. They have nothing to stand on because they do nothing right. In every state they're running it straight into the ground.
But he don't look like he missed the meal. But I'll let my man talk. Go ahead.
We gotta laugh.
The Attorney General.
It's absurd.
It's Sunday morning. The Attorney General is running in this election for governor to fill your seat. What are the dynamics? You clearly have two very different visions of North Carolina. That the voters, very much like nationally, we're going to have two very different visions of America by a presidential candidate. The same is going to play out in your state. How do you see?
Okay, so before he makes his comment, I don't like this scroll. You see the scroll they got down here at the bottom where it says North Carolina Lieutenant Governor? I want you to put his name there so that when people come in and go to the voting polls, I want them to know not to vote for the lieutenant governor. That's the lieutenant governor now, or whatever his name is. I don't want that guy to anywhere near the governor's office. Nowhere near it. And the other thing I like about really MSNBC, even though I'm using their clip for fair use. The other thing I don't like is how they got rid of a lot of the progressive voices that used to be on MSNBC, man. We used to have some people, even though you might not agree with everything they say, and sometimes their rhetoric was a little bit over the top, but they know not worse than the Fox News. They were no worse than anybody else. And I think they actually help alleviate some of the stress that people were feeling, because when you hear regular Democrats talk and regular Republicans talk, you get irritated. Like, for instance, okay, this guy that's up here on Governor Michael Steele, he was a Republican through and through until like Trump got in office. Now he's saying he's not really a Republican, but you can still tell he has the Republican tendencies. I want people on the screen that I can identify with, that's on a major station, that's not necessarily Republican or Democrat. I'm an independent progressive. I want to see independent progressive people on the screen telling about the policies. Other thing I don't like is how you never hear them talk about. Now, I did hear CNN. I might use one of their clips. They had Cornel West on. And Cornel, I think he goes to CNN often to talk about different things. But I want the people to actually start talking about that. I want that to be the new thing, to demand more progressives, to demand more of what the actual people are thinking. I want to hear more voices like that rather than just to hear what the middle of the road, the mediocrity and all the people that think for black folks. I don't want to hear nobody. I want to hear us talking for ourselves. That's what I want to hear. Okay.
I'm not asking you to handicap the race, but how do you see North Carolinians responding to something like this? Yeah. And at the same time saying,
wait a minute, he said he didn't want him to handicap the race. Handicap the race. Call out that guy that we just heard on the screen. I was trying to see if they put his name up there yet. They didn't put his name up there yet. Anyway, here we go. Let's finish here.
Saying that, oh, we have a great economy, but the governor did nothing right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, first, let's
through it. Let me
presidential candidates clearly have two very different visions of North Carolina. That the voters, very much like nationally, we're going to have two very different visions of America by a presidential candidate. The same is going to play out in your state. How do you see, not asking you to handicap the race, but how do you see North Carolinians responding to something like this? Yeah. And at the same time saying that, oh, we have a great economy, but the governor did nothing right.
Yeah. Well, first, let's make it clear. The lieutenant governor is independently elected in North Carolina, and he tends to forget that I've been governor the last 7 years. And when I beat the Republican incumbent in North Carolina, we had just gone through the bathroom bill. People were leaving North Carolina. We got it repealed. Now we've been the #1 state in the country for business the last 2 years because we've been showing who North Carolina really is. We value all people. We value our diversity. But the lieutenant governor is running for governor on a platform of men should lead, not women, that all abortions should be banned with no exceptions. He's even said that his assault rifle is to shoot government officials if they get too big for their britches. He has called LGBTQ plus people filth.
That guy.
He is an extreme culture warrior, and North Carolinians don't want that. On contrast, the Democratic nominee will be Attorney General Josh Stein, with whom I worked.
And they didn't show a picture of Josh Stein, but sounds like he might be more of a good candidate for North Carolina than that one guy that they just showed. You know what? I'm gonna look it up right now. I wish I could pause this video, but I don't know how to pause it right now. I would probably have to just stop it. And I'm already 31 minutes in to a 7-minute video. But anyway, yeah, I just wanted to share this with you. If you guys want to see the whole clip, you can basically just go to my my website, dhspeller.info or dhspeller.com, and check out on my left side, go down some and you'll see where my feed is for my Tumblr account. We got a lot going on, man. A lot going on. So I thank you guys for hanging in there and looking at the video. This is going to be something that we're going to be probably talking about for the next few months. I'll try to have some short clips, but I just felt like I needed to really go into depth on this particular one because a lot of people just go to the polls. They don't really know the policies of folks that they're looking at. They don't know what's going on. They just see, you know what? I mean, I'm going to say, I mean, maybe it's not true for a lot of folks, but some people say, oh, he's a black guy, I'm going to vote for him. You can't always do that. You can't always do that. You got to know what the people's policies are and what they are doing for you as an individual. And that's my take on this particular situation right now. Y'all have a great day. Peace. And I'll see y'all the next time. We out.